All right, what's going on, guys and girls, and all the rest of yous out there? Um, you got a lot of questions and whatnot about my opinion and what's going on the oil and massive troop buildups and this, that, and another. Everything from, oh, this ain't nothing to, oh man, it's the end of the freaking world as we know it. Well, first let's get the facts out of the way. Transocean, which apparently the Deepwater Horizon was part of their fleet, the specs on this rig is it can operate at up to 10,000 feet of water, utilizing a 15,000 psi blowout prevention device, and actual drill depth itself, once you actually get through the water, hit the surface of whatever you're drilling it, drill depth itself, it can lay up to 30,000 foot of pipe in the ground. That's about where the facts end, other than there's oil just spewing out everywhere, and hydrogen sulfide and benzene, and they're spraying this damn chemical dispersant down there that's toxic as all get out. So from here on, basically just my speculation based on information I've gathered from multiple different sources, and the ones that have a proven track record of being accurate is basically what I'm leaning toward as far as all this goes, because we really don't know, because we can't get any straight answers from nobody that's actually in the know, officially anyway. There's a lot of people out there claiming they've got inside sources. I don't have inside sources in BP, so, take it for what it's worth. This is to satisfy some of the curiosity out there that I've been somewhat bombarded with. All right. I figure, based on the different stuff that I've looked at, that actual drill depth itself, this is under the 5,000 foot of water, drill depth itself is ranging between 20,000 and 30,000 feet. And we know that the drill rig can go 30,000 feet. Who's to say it couldn't be modified or to do even more than that? Which I don't think it has, but who knows? Can't get a straight answer from nobody. Now, the pressure involved in a wellhead, it's rated to withstand 15,000 psi, and of course we know it's more than that because it blew that dude all to hell. I've heard everything from 20,000 to 70,000 to even 100,000 psi. I'm leaning more toward the 20 to 70,000, somewhere in that range is basically kind of what I'm more inclined to believe. Something very interesting, and this will kind of help give you some of the reason behind my looking at things of what could possibly happen, is I went to the Washington, that cesspit of Washington up there, them damn sewer rats that they call congressmen and senators. Well, they're the Committee on Energy Independence and Global Warming. They got their own little web page up there. So I went there and looked at it, and they got the live cam feed on there. And very interesting, you can see on the left-hand side of the screen where the oil's coming out on the left side of it. There was flames, and I'm not talking about like fire. No, I'm talking about, you see a little flame shooting out here and there, and, you can clearly see it's flame. Now, it's got to be pretty damn hot stuff to actually have a bit of a flame coming out, little sporadic flames flaring up. Given just the sheer pressure that far under the water surface and the sheer pressure of the oil gushing out of that pipe. Now, the oil itself, that's pretty unfortunate. It's bad news, but in the big picture of things, there's natural processes that'll help clean this stuff up, microbes and stuff like that, that'll break it down and whatnot, because of course there's natural oil leaks. Of course every once in a while a little oil bubbles up through the seabed and whatnot. So the oil itself, I'm not really all that concerned about. I mean, I am concerned about it, but to me it's kind of not near as important as other possibilities that I see could be potentially forming, other hazards, if you will. I don't think they can stop this thing just because of the sheer pressure involved. Your wellhead and your casing and all that crap's already been compromised. The integrity's compromised. You can't fill it up with mud. It's just, you know, hell, they've even floated their idea around of dropping a nuke down there. That really tells you they have no idea what in the hell they're doing or how in the hell to fix it. So let's just say that this is dino juice, you know, from dinosaurs and organic material, from whether you think it was over thousands and thousands of years or Noah's flood or whatever viewpoint you have. Let's just say it's a real big pocket of dino juice, and eventually it's going to run out, and the pressure is going to stabilize, and the seawater actually start going down inside this pipe. Well, it's really hot down there, and we know that, you know, just by looking at that footage and seeing the flames popping out, and it's really cold down there. What happens when that water actually gets down in there if they don't fix it and mixes in? Of course, it's going to steam. It's going to turn into steam. And who's to say that if it's not enough volume getting down in there before the temperature equalizes, that all that steam and pressure buildup can't actually lift the seabed somewhat until the temperatures equalize and it drops back down? Who's to say that couldn't happen? And if that does happen, could you imagine a hell of a tsunami heading up there? Kind of interesting to think about that. Also, apparently there was some fella I heard about a few nights ago made some sort of prophecy. I think his name was Edgar Casey. Said that, you know, that he seen a vision where the Mississippi had somehow cracked open and the Great Lakes had flowed down. Well, the Great Lakes is what, somewhere in the neighborhood of 600 feet above sea level, and flowed all the way down to the Gulf. Now, I don't know much about this Edgar Casey fella, but it was just very interesting that I heard that. And I'm like, okay, well, let's go to the USGS site and look at their seismic zones and see if we can actually find some fault lines and actual, you know, tectonic plate movement and whatnot, which I didn't really find a definitive tectonic plate map in my 45 minutes of, you know, just gander around and perusing there. But say that in the Madrid fault line, the fault line itself, not the seismic zone, but the actual plate movement itself, you know, follows the Mississippi. You know, of course, we know, you know, from Memphis up to Cape Girardeau, Missouri, is a seismic zone, and up past that, really. I looked at the earthquake map and seen that they had, you know, outside the seismic zone, basically following the Mississippi, kind of dotted here and there, little earthquakes, you know, little two-pointers and whatnot. So who's to say that, you know, if, say, indeed a fault line does run all the way down there, and all this instability and pressure and all this stuff and the actual stress of the seabed rising and falling wouldn't set off a hell of an earthquake, and that could happen. Let's get into some of the toxic gases and whatnot, the hydrogen sulfide and benzene. If they can't stop this thing, which I don't think they can, say this stuff just keeps going and going and going and going, and you get all these toxic gases getting into the atmosphere. Hurricanes come along with all the dispersant, vapor, and hydrogen sulfide and benzene and all kinds of other crap. The hurricane picks it up and dumps it on us in the form of rain. So that's a very real possibility. You know, some toxic rain. What the hell are you going to do then? You know, depending on how far inland you are and how toxic it is, you know, that could be some pretty damn bad news. You know, like I said, I've heard theories from doomsday to this ain't nothing. You know, this is just me bouncing ideas around. And just to satisfy some of you guys' curiosity about this massive troop buildup that we've been hearing about, I got a very close family member that's a commissioned officer in the Guard over here. He hasn't heard a damn thing about any sort of activation, deployment, or anything like that. His words was, you know, hell, FEMA don't need us to go down there and wipe off birds. So that's a clear indication that he hasn't heard anything. Talked to some of my folks down there closer to the Gulf that's in the guard down there. Basically said something along the lines of there was a bit of a presence there, but just kind of all packed up and you ain't got to worry about nothing. So as far as the fears of an imminent mass evacuation, I don't I don't see the assets there to enact a plan like that. Now things could change. Things could definitely change on that, but just imminently, I don't think we got to worry about that. Kind of random and whatnot. I just threw this up because of the questions I've been getting. So, that's just some of my ideas. Y'all have a good one.